Yep, you may be bad at driving. This is the Can You Fix Traffic continued. Breaking down that last video, I think just the awareness that you're behind the wheel of a vehicle is most important. And second to that is looking out for others. The term that I've heard my whole life is defensive driving. I didn't mention that in the last video, but to break down rushing around, you may be in a rush too often. Think about it like this. Is the 20 minutes that you're saving by cutting in front of people or going too fast or just driving in a reckless way, is that 20 minutes worth shortening your life by 20 years? It's a pretty obvious answer, no. But in time, we don't think about it like that, and we just got to get to where we're going. And a lot of times we may have our priorities out of line. I've noticed this with distractions while you're driving. Eating, for example. Okay, you're starving, you gotta have something to eat. But are you really starving? Are you really dying? Is getting to your destination more important than the meal? We live in America. Most of us could probably skip a couple meals. But that meal behind the wheel may be your last if you're not paying attention and paying attention to others. In the last video, I talked about the cars that are in front of you and behind you. And if you want them to get to your destination, to their destination as safely and quickly as possible, it will in turn help you and help your travels. If somebody's behind you and they're riding your tail, that's probably a good hint to get over. A lot of times the car that's riding in the fast lane and they're going too slow and they're holding up traffic, they have no idea that they're even holding up traffic. They're probably paying attention to something completely different than driving. The cars in front of you, sometimes abiding by the law, of course, sometimes people want other cars to ride with them and travel with them at the same speed. And so you put just an average amount of distance between you and that car and match their speed. You become like a wolf pack. And although you don't know that person that's driving next to you, you're looking out for them and they're looking out for you. I had a scenario this morning during my drive where I was doing that. And I knew as I come into Dadeville on 280, there is always a cop. I'm not saying I was going faster than the speed limit, but I made sure that when I made it to Dadeville that I was definitely going at least the speed limit or under, because they're always there. And there was no way that I could tell the person in my wolf pack to slow down or to stay with me. And I watched them just speed ahead, boom, shakalaka, pulled over. Hopefully, they didn't get a ticket, and they're having a great rest of their day. But man, that's so relevant. Over the past 24 hours, I've really tried to break down my driving and, listen to my own advice. Last thing I want to do is be a hypocrite. So in these videos, a lot of times I'm just filming them for myself anyway, so I got to take my own advice. Skateboard etiquette. This is kind of interesting. Oh, I'm in Clanton today, by the way. If you hear the big loud trucks, that's probably why. But skateboarding etiquette. I was helping little Bo. He got his first skateboard yesterday. That was super cool to kind of show him around and just give him some tips. But one of the biggest things I was talking to him about was skateboard etiquette. Because when you get out there, even though nobody's really discussing that there's turns and that there's like a totem pole, you gotta be mindful of that. You know, if someone is going faster than you, or they have more experience than you need to let them go down the ramp first. You need to make sure that you are getting out of their way so that they can perform the trick that they're wanting to do. Also, in turn, that will lead to more experienced riders helping you along, you know, and cheering you on, because they realize that you're willing to take time and focus on them, so then they'll focus on you. Be mindful of the conditions. This morning it was a gully washer on the way to work. Again, you know, one of those things, taking my own advice, being mindful of the conditions and driving differently based on your conditions will help you stay safe on the road and will help others. Don't judge others based on the car that they drive. Just give them more grace. There's a difference there, okay? Because, you know, when I see somebody in front of me and they've got a bunch of dents in their car, or they have an older car, or maybe they have one of their mirrors broken off of their car, I'm not gonna think less of them. I'm going to actually give them more, meaning more space, more of my attention, more effort towards staying safe on the road, because they've, you know, I'm not sure what their scenario may hold. They may not be able to fix the car. Their car part might not come in. They may not even care that they have a dent in their car or that they're missing a mirror. So, you know, give them more grace, but less judgment. So when you feel that judgment coming on, like, man, I'm surprised your car's still rolling down the road, don't think that way. Think about, okay, well, I'm glad that your car's still riding down the road, but I'm going to give you more space. That way, if something were to happen, everybody will be okay. Of course, I like to break down a little bit and dive a little bit deeper on the continued. So in the last 53 months, I've traveled 136,602 miles. That's 1,590 days of travel. So I'm averaging about 85 miles a day, or about an hour and a half in the car a day. So 16% of my life is spent behind the wheel of a car. And I'm okay with that. I like traveling, I like journeying around, but it's also important that I talk about traffic and try to fix it myself because of how much time I'm spending on the road. So Psalms 139, 9 and 10 says, "If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast." To me, this means that the heart of man will plan his way, but the Lord will establish his steps, or my steps. The plug today is Stephen Furtick. I don't know if I said his last name right, but he's a pastor of a church in one of the Carolinas. I think it's North Carolina. And I'm going to put a link to one of his videos there. It's really cool. But he says, master the term yet. Going back to the labels video at the very beginning, this kind of incorporates that. Of, you know, if you speak something into existence that is maybe negative or is part of your image that you don't like, add the term yet, because, you know, I may not be good at something yet. It gives you the opportunity to add God's grace and for him to mold and shape you in that department of, hey, I'm not a good reader yet. So that was really cool there. And one last thing is, God's timing is to increase my trust in him. That's in the video too, so go check that out. Hope y'all are having a great day. Wouldn't you know, there goes another 10 minutes.